Hit it.
Perfect. Welcome to Dirty Fanatics.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United is coming at you live on a Tuesday night at 9:18 here. As always, it's your boy Chase, your host here for DFU, followed by my co-host Robert, a.k.a. Mr. Megabiff, and my guy, Holy Falcon Keeler, is here to talk Falcon football tonight. Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. We drop Atlanta Falcon content daily. If it ain't on YouTube, it is on TikTok, fellas. Check us out on TikTok. We're on Facebook groups. Shout out to the Facebook groups. We just officially reached 306 members on Facebook groups. So a round of applause for that. Shout out to that. Also, a Facebook memory popped up today, guys. Last year at this point, DFU set at 216 subscribers. Today, we officially sit at 456. So shout out to all the new subscribers. In a year's time, we have doubled what we are, I'm saying pretty much the same. We're right at the same, but we've gained more in this year span time than what we did in the opening year. So shout out to that. We can't do it without you guys. Once again, leave a comment, hit the like, share to a Falcon friend, and comment somebody. Let's get active in the comment section because Falcon fans, we have a lot to talk about today. Spiraling Atlanta Falcons, episode 116 is live now. Robert, what's going on, man? How we doing today? It's been a rough 2-day week for me. The Falcons obviously spoiling the weeks for me. The past 4 weeks, that is a 4-week straight loss here for the Atlanta Falcons. Robert, what's going on, man? How are we feeling? I've made a post, Robert, on Facebook, and it said, "What now, Falcon fans?" Robert, the question goes to you. What now, Mr. Megabiff? What do we do, Falcon fans?
The first thing that needs to be done is the head coach needs to be held accountable, and he needs to hold his players accountable. This is ridiculous. Raheem has totally lost this team. They're not on the same page. It is his job as the head coach to make sure this team is prepared. Mm-hmm. Not doing it. I mean, we'll have one phase of the game playing great. We actually had a pass rush the last couple of weeks. Bijan and Tyler are out there busting their humps. Our top 3 receivers, London, Mooney, and McLeod, are out there. They're doing their part. What's the rest of the team doing? Raheem, it's your job. It's your duty to get this team focused, get them prepared, and get them on the same page.
Absolutely agree, Robert. You speak on the defense finding that pass rush. It seemed like the defense still found hints of that pass rush Sunday until up to halftime. The Falcons were bringing pressure, and then it kind of faded off after halftime. I absolutely agree, Robert. I made a post the other day with some people on Twitter, and everything I said I feel 100% true is because I said the Falcons have been badly outcoached these last 4 games. Exactly. It isn't a talent issue. It is a coaching problem in Atlanta, and it's year 1 for Raheem Moore. So this is expected in Zach Robinson, Jimmy Lake. Guys, you remember back in week 6 when I was telling Falcon fans here on the podcast, and I actually got into a verbal disagreement here on the podcast with a guy about, I don't think one of you two guys wasn't here for this, but I got into an argument with a guy because I said, not really an argument, but a discussion. I said the Falcons are not supposed to be as good as the Falcons are right now. And that was me saying that because everybody is a first year. You got a first-year head coach. You got a first-year OC. First-year DC. And when I say first-year OC and DC, these are 2 guys that have never play called in the NFL. And it is, I'm sorry, but it is shown sadly this season in critical moments here. Cody, we got a whole episode to dive in on what happened Sunday. Cody, what's going on, man? How are we feeling about these Atlanta Falcons? I mean, not very uppity spirits right now. It's around Christmas time. We were hoping to already have locked the NFC South down by now because you were on the track of doing so. You are now officially lower than 50% chance of making the playoffs, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at a 68% chance of making the NFC South playoff spot and winning the NFC South. So, Falcon fans, it is a do or die situation for these Dirty Birds. Cody, let's talk about it, brother. How are we feeling?
Well, to Robert's point, I think it even goes above Coach Raheem Morris on this at this point. Terry Fontenot has some serious questions to answer to all of us. Terry Fontenot absolutely, I was big on the Bill Belichick thing, and I didn't hate the Coach Raheem Morris hire, but at the same time, how do you pass?
Be for real, Falcon fans. It was a shock we hired Raheem Morris. Be for real.
Yeah, I mean again, I think it came down to it was a comfortable hire. It was very I guess the best word I could think is very fan servicey. Like, too many people were so worried about the control that Bill Belichick wanted and all these different things. But guess what? This is what I was saying when he was available. The guy wins championships. I understand his last few years in New England were, pretty bad. But he could have had a Kirk Cousins here. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is Tom Brady, but we had the option to have a Super Bowl winning coach here, who would have brought on coaches that probably would have, that were either on his staff that have won Super Bowls before. But instead, we went in the direction of, hey, let's make sure that the fans are happy with who we pick instead of being uncomfortable and not really sure what kind of control Belichick wants with the Falcons. We had a chance to have a guy who knew what he was doing, and I hate to say this, I've got a coworker who's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, fan, and he said, guys, there's a reason that we didn't bring back Coach Raheem Morris and we let him coach, 1 or 2 years. And it's showing right now. I don't know if he's at this point, I just don't know, but it doesn't seem like he's got a handle over his own coaches, because how on earth did we go into Minnesota? That first drive was the perfect mix pass and run, and you had Tyler, and you had Bijan going, and you had Darnell going, and you had Drake London going, and then for whatever reason you get away from that entire game plan, and you get away from that, and it cost you again. It's just like, I don't understand how you have the opportunity to bring in a Super Bowl winning head coach that has proven that he can win Super Bowls, that he can coach teams. Let's be honest. Bill Belichick took a bunch of guys guys like no-name wide receivers with, again, I understand he had Tom Brady, but you know what? He has talent here too. Especially if Kirk Cousins comes here. It's mind-blowing to me that we've got an offensive coordinator. Well, you, me, Philip, and Robert, sit here week in and week out, especially these last 4 weeks, and go, why are we not giving Tyler Algier the ball more? Why are we not seeing Tyler and Bijan, on the field at the same time? Why are we not mixing things up? Why are we still running, screens? Why are we still running, running Tyler out there by himself? Because everybody in NFL knows when you see Tyler and there's no Bijan, you know exactly where it's going.
Yeah.
And you can't do this crap. You just can't. And if 4 guys who just love the Falcons and have a passion for, the game and have a passion for their team could sit here and figure that out, the guys that are making millions of dollars should also be able to sit there and go, what's going on? Especially after a bye week, to come out the way that you came out offensively. And I understand that a lot of that's Kirk's problems with the interceptions and stuff like that. But if Kirk Cousins is hurt, which I really am starting to feel like we may have paid a guy that came back, either a season too early, 6 weeks too early, 2 months too early, whatever the case is. Okay, own up to it. I'm okay with you going.
Cody,
hey,
I think with the Kirk Cousins situation, and this is where I look at it. Okay, so Kirk Cousins has played in the beginning of the season. Kirk Cousins played phenomenal football here for the Atlanta Falcons. We thought that this was the guy that was taking you to the playoffs. Well, week 1 was here. We looked a little rough. We thought that Kirk Cousins was injured. That was the title that was going around Twitter. Kirk Cousins isn't healthy. Then you get the pullout win in Philadelphia because of your run game. You go out in Philadelphia. Kirk has a solid game, 2-touchdown game. I think it was 200 to 300 yard passing. So then Kirk starts to find his rhythm in this offense. Kirk gets to close to the bye week, which was a late bye week, which we thought was an advantage here for the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins was one of the only quarterbacks to come back from this injury, this type of injury, quicker than any quarterback in NFL history.
Right.
Kirk Cousins, to me, I think Kirk Cousins has been hurt all season, but I think Kirk Cousins has, when he came back, he was already injured, but now that lingering injury has advanced to something even worse because he's played on it all season, and now it's starting to show. When you have a quarterback that he threw for less than 30 miles per hour the week prior, the only quarterback to do so that week, that is a problem. That is a problem. You can't tell me that guy is healthy. Shout out to Omno on YouTube. He says, it was another gray hair growing Sunday. Real quick, shout out to all the viewers on YouTube, Facebook. Hit that like button, leave a comment, tag a Falcon friend, subscribe if you haven't already. Omno says, the D-line and our linebackers very proud of, especially Ellis. You finally see Ellis rushing off the edge, blitzing up the middle, something that DFU has talked about all season long. And here it is, week 14, week 15 in the NFL, and we are just now figuring out how to get Caden Ellis in the backfield. Falcon fans, it is a problem in Atlanta, and we are here to talk about it. The Sports Nuts is in the chat. Shout out to the Sports Nuts. Says, what's good, fellas? Hashtag DFU. Hit that hashtag DFU in the comment section, Falcon fans. The Sports Nuts says, ESPN put out a question today. Should Kirk and Ron hang it up? Falcon fans, hit that comment section. Let us know your questions, your thoughts on Sunday's performance from these Atlanta Falcons. Hell, the last 4 weeks. Let us know how you feel about these Dirty Birds. Better question in the comment section, because I've done some polls on Facebook and Twitter. In the comment section, who would you rather see start at quarterback Sunday, Michael Penix Jr. or Kirk Cousins? Get active in the comment section. 1 for Kirk Cousins, 2 for Michael Penix Jr. Who do you want to see Sunday in Las Vegas? I mean, Monday, my bad. Monday in primetime in Las Vegas. Who do you want to see start at quarterback? Falcon fans, get active. Cody, Robert, we always do a what went wrong podcast, it seems like the past month now. Instead of what went right, it is a what went wrong podcast here for the Atlanta Falcons, the new tradition for DFU. Knock on wood. I mean, come on, Falcons. We want to see a W. It's been 4 weeks since we've seen a touchdown pass. 4 weeks. But Kirk's own, this is Raheem Morris's words, Kirk Cousins has earned the right to right the ship here in Atlanta. 9 interceptions, 9 consecutive interceptions, 0 touchdowns. Not 1, not 2, but 0. You had a Drake London that was scoring a touchdown damn near every game. Falcon fans, Drake London was going to make that 1,000-yard season. Does he do it now? Who knows? Does the Falcons make the playoffs? Who knows? Do we get back above 500? Who knows? Falcon fans, hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Robert, this question goes to you. What went wrong Sunday in Minnesota? Kirk Cousins' hometown reunion, because that's all it seemed to be about. It was a home reunion for Kirk Cousins. We don't give a damn if we win, but we want Kirk Cousins to play every 4 quarters. Robert, what went wrong Monday or Sunday?
Just the main thing that stuck out to me was the lackluster effort from the secondary. I mean, earlier in the year, our secondary was considered elite. We had A.J. Terrell on one side. We had probably what I figured and what you guys figured too, and what we all figured was probably the best safety duo in the league with Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons.
Yeah,
these guys are getting torched week in and week out now. I don't know what's going on, and what's going on with D. Alford? He looks totally lost.
We talked about it early this season. I talked about it. I called him out here on the podcast because I love D. Alford, and what he did Sunday does not justify a roster spot on that roster at all. I don't know if the slip coverage on Justin Jefferson was D's fault. I don't know if that was supposed to be a Terrell pickup or not a Terrell, a Jesse Bates pickup, because Jesse, for some reason, gets sucked in all the way to where a linebacker should be at. I have no reasoning for Jesse Bates to be there at all. So D. Alford turns around and runs with him. Okay, cool, but why are we looking at the sideline? Justin Jefferson's to the left, standing there freely.
To the receiver.
Why are we looking at the sideline? A guy on Twitter, ATL Will, set in the end zone in that specific spot, said he made fucking eye contact with D. Alford on that fucking pass. What are we doing? Why are we looking at the fans? Why are we not catching the air ball that Sam Darnold got away with twice, not once, but twice, that ended up being touchdowns. Falcon fans, I don't know what to tell you, but from what I've seen the last 3 weeks, I'll give the Saints game a pass because we were still kind of in it there all the way towards the end on that game. But the last 3 weeks, you have been blown out. You have been embarrassed. You were embarrassed in Minnesota. You were embarrassed in Denver. And the Chargers came into town and won a game that you should have won. Falcon fans, it is not pretty. And from what I've seen, I don't think you deserve a playoff spot. So until the Falcons prove it to me, I will go with the flow and we'll see what happens the rest of the season. But Robert, continue on, man. What went wrong Sunday?
Well, once again, also Kirk threw 2 interceptions. The second one, I really don't fault him. And Cody, you touched on that point. It was just another lazy route by tight end 1. I mean, he's just running a sloppy route, just giving it half effort. Kirk overthrows him, goes right to the Vikings defender.
Yep.
And once again, I don't understand the going for it on 4th and 5. Yeah, I understand you want to be aggressive. I get that, but it's early in the game.
You take those points.
I think we still had a touchdown lead.
You was 7-0.
If you don't have any confidence in your kicker at that part of the field, go ahead and punt it and pin them deep.
Exactly.
Your defense was getting to Darnold early. We got 4 sacks on him on the game. Keep the pressure on, and just that's another thing that has always plagued the Falcons in recent years. It seems like is the defense gets tired.
Yeah, because they're on the field 95% of the game. It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy how fast our offense can go out on the field and turn the ball over.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's pathetic.
And again, the penalties, I think they had like 127 yards.
Yeah, almost 80 yards in the first quarter, Robert. Over 6 to 7 penalties in the first half. I mean, you don't win games that way. You do not.
No, and that is strictly on the coaching. I mean, this is what they go to work in Flowery Branch every week to try to remedy, and it's not working. So I'm dumbfounded, and I know you guys are too. I mean, and where do we go from here?
That's the question. And Cody, I'm coming to you next about what went wrong Sunday. But here's the question for both you guys. Both of you chime in here. I mean, I'm looking way down the scope. I'm looking way past this season. Let's just say this season turns for the worse. You don't make the playoffs. Okay, so let's look at the long vision here, all right? We signed Raheem Morris to a 4-year contract. You're more than definitely probably not cutting Raheem Morris after this season. You're probably going to ride with Raheem Morris maybe one more year, unless you lose. Now, if you go out and lose the remainder of this season, maybe, just maybe you see a Raheem Morris fired. But if Raheem Morris is kept, okay, you keep a Raheem Morris, but you lose the remainder of these games, you miss the playoffs, you just say you beat the Panthers. But I think if you lose to the Panthers, for sure you're out of the door. But if you just say you miss the playoffs, do you stick with a Zach Robinson? Do you stick with a Jimmy Lake? Do you stick around to see what a year 2 is like with these players or with these coaches? Because, I mean, the first year with Kyle Shanahan wasn't too great.
No,
it wasn't too great. So, that's a far down the line question, but that's something I want to bring up here on the podcast. If you miss the playoffs, are you trusting this regime for another year?
I don't think so. I mean, we went through 3 straight years of 7 wins. And that was enough to get Arthur Smith out the door. If we do not at least improve on the win total, I mean, if we go, say, 8-9, miss the playoffs, maybe. Mm-hmm. If we do not improve on a 7-10 record, he ought to be fired. Just not just Raheem, but, obviously these 2 coordinators. Well, Jimmy Lake's his play calling has improved the last couple of weeks. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes.
There's also been talks
not figuring anything out.
In one of the head coach press conferences that I watched this week. They asked Raheem Morris. Remember, we talked about how I seen on Twitter that we thought that Raheem Morris was inputting more on the defense now here in this part of the season. And they asked Raheem Morris this in a press conference, and he said, I will let Jimmy Lake continue to be the defensive play caller, and I will put my opinion on things when needed. So I think maybe them two colliding together may come out to be good here in Atlanta. We'll see. But Cody, that goes to you. I mean, do you look for the long-term vision here if you miss the playoffs? Because the ceiling was so high, man. You think about what you've lost here. You didn't just miss the playoffs. Another year missing the playoffs. Who cares? Okay, whatever. But you didn't just miss the playoffs. You lost a 3-game advantage in the NFC South. This doesn't come to you easy. Falcon fans, you're probably not going to get that again next year. You're not going to get a 3-game advantage because teams get better every year. Let's be for real. The Carolina Panthers are starting to look a little better here towards the end of the season. Teams do that. Falcons were once a terrible, terrible team, and it seems like the past 4 years you've been a mediocre team. You've been a team that's just we'll play with the bottom in the middle pack of the league, but we're not going to be a playoff team. So the Falcons have to figure it out. You're not only losing the playoffs, but you've lost a 3-point lead now that you gave the advantage to the Buccaneers to take the NFC South. The Buccaneers, the team that the one team that you swept, that we were all so excited about sweeping for no fucking reason because you gave up the lead. You gave up the 3-point and the tiebreaker lead for the NFC South. Cody, do you look for the long-term vision if you miss out on the playoffs and potentially lose the NFC South?
If you lose the NFC South this year, this is where it gets difficult for me because as a fan, the way that this year started out, everybody should lose their job. Everybody, Coach Rob, Jimmy Lake, because and I hate to say this, but this is a bigger collapse than the Super Bowl was.
It looks like
and it feels worse almost.
Yeah.
Because it was so promising when you started out. Yeah, we look bad against the Steelers. We chalk that up to that's Kirk Cousins' first game back. No preseason for him, getting him time. So my heart tells me I'm pissed. I'm a Falcon fan. I want everybody gone, but my head tells me this is what we kind of talked about last podcast was consistency.
Yep.
We have to look back at 2015. You were absolutely right, Chase, when you brought this up. 2015 has a very similar feel to 2024. Yeah. You won a bunch of games. You won games. You were looking okay, and then you turned around and you lost 5 straight. Yeah. And you missed the playoff. You missed the playoffs. You miss all that stuff, and then you come back at 16. So part of me is like, I think you have
2 years.
I think you've got 2 years. I think I know a lot of people are probably going to hate me for this, but I think
Cody, I'll back you for this 100% because you say you got 2 years, right?
I think you've got 2 years.
So you wait and you got the veteran quarterback to get it done this season. If for some reason he didn't pan out, you drafted your quarterback for the first round. You drafted him in the first round. So if Kirk Cousins didn't pan out, second season you got a veteran backup and you got a rookie starting. So I mean, I can see the 2 years.
Well, and this is my thing too, and I know people are not going to like this, but you did pay Kirk Cousins $180 million. I'm not justifying his turnovers. I am not justifying the way he's played the last 4 weeks. I am not saying that, he shouldn't be benched in some of these games that he's played all the way through, but, probably should have been set. But you just paid the man $180 million. I don't think he deserves the right to turn the ship over, but I also don't want to see Michael Penix fail. Right. Because we stuck him out there too early. Because you do stuff like that, and you run a good quarterback. I think John Gruden was the one who quoted it best. If Michael Penix Jr. was really as good as what we're hearing, he would be starting. This is the NFL. They do not wait long.
But let's be for real. Though. If Penix goes to the New York Giants right now, he starts.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, absolutely. But I think that's where I think you have to give Kirk one more season. Now, if he comes out these next 4 games, loses all 4 of them, looks the same as these last 4 weeks, get him out of town. But if he shows sign of improvement, because we have to remember, if he is hurt,
there was still a good ball Sunday. There was still good passes. I mean,
that's it. And I hate that Kirk came out and said this, but he was right. He threw, he was tied 21-21, and next time he touched the ball, it was 35-21. again, and to Robert's point, one of those interceptions, if Kyle Pitts gets on his fucking horse and runs through his route like he is supposed to, instead of starts out strong and then starts half-assing it, that's not
It's
a
like
pick.
he's not physical. He's so big, and he's not physical at all.
Yeah, and it's incredibly disappointing to see. So in the end, I think Coach Raw and these guys have one more year, because I think this is kind of one of those things. 15 look just like 24 is right now. So if you miss the playoffs, I think everybody's got one more year, and that's it. So you've got to hurry up and get on it. Like I say, I would love to see Penix come in and succeed, but
here's the thing that also sucks about that, Cody. So if let's just say they do give him 2 years, right? You give him 2 years. Then that third year, Michael Penix is now starting with a new head coach that did not draft him, a new offensive coordinator that did not select him. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because if you like, the best thing for the Falcons is for Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris and Jimmy Lake to succeed as of right now.
Yeah, and of course, as Falcon fans, that's what we want. We don't want to see them struggling the way that they're struggling, but it may not even necessarily let's we'll go down that rabbit hole. Let's say even if in 2 years they wind up getting rid of Raw, they get rid of Jimmy Lake, they get rid of that's okay, because you know what, Kirk isn't sitting here teaching Penix the playbook. What Kirk is teaching him to do is how to prepare, how to be ready for games, how to he's doing that stuff. So ultimately, I don't see that as a problem, because then, because I imagine Terry Fontenot's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
And so
I'm sure he had a lot to do with the hiring of Raheem Morris as well.
Exactly. And so he's going to understand that, hey, we just got rid of Kirk Cousins. This is who our quarterback of the future is. What coordinator, what head coach fits his style?
It's yeah.
So yeah. I'm not too worried about that necessarily, but I still, as much it's hard, and like, don't get me wrong, I wish I understood why I feel the way I feel, because I really don't understand it after watching Kirk. I get
what you're saying, Cody. I know why you feel that way, because me and a whole lot of other Falcon fans that are calling for Penix right now feel the same way. It's because Kirk Cousins built you up to feel this way. You feel what I'm saying? Like he showed us Falcon fans that haven't seen a quarterback in Atlanta that since Matt Ryan. Right. Like some of these throws, some of these game-winning drives that Kirk Cousins was putting together here in Atlanta. I mean, dude, I was head over heels for Kirk Cousins at one point this season. And I still kind of at a certain degree am, because I want to see him do good here in Atlanta, because to me it's what could be. Not what's happening now. It's just what could be if Kirk Cousins could get his shit together. Exactly.
And I think that's the thing is that there's the potential for him to, because let's be honest, the first, before this 4-game slide, even during some of these bad games, Kirk still is showing you that he has the ability to throw the ball, and has shown you that he can absolutely drop dimes to Drake London and to Mooney. And that's why I'm thinking you've got one more year with Kirk, because again, I seriously think his problem right now is he is hurt. He's not 100%. He came off that injury way too soon. Bravo to him for, coming off that soon. But I think the season is long. He does get hit. And so it's a combination of those things. He's in football shape, but it's also war nutrition for him at this point, because he did miss so much football that previous year. Let's be honest. He only played 8 games last season, and now he's in week 15. That's a huge difference, especially on your leg. Yeah, and he's still got to go to practice, and he's still got to go with weights, and he's still so you know what I mean. So, but again, it comes down to Zach Robinson's got to help him out. Quit putting him in the pistol.
Well, even the first interception, Cody, we talked about it in the chat. We talked about it on the game last night, I believe it was. There was a play where the interception to Drake London, the one where they intercepted from Drake London, he kind of threw it it should have been kind of like a lob pass. It was more of a solid bullet pass. I'm watching the replay. I'm watching the play of the routes that our receivers are running, and it looked like Arthur Smith was calling the play that day, because my guy had no check down on that route at all. Everybody was on seams. Drake London was on a post, and Kyle Pitts was on a straight go route. Right. Nobody was a check down. Bijan's now having to fill in for pass blocking. I don't know why they're sticking Bijan to always do pass blocking. So I get it. He's a great blocker. He's a great blocker. He does phenomenal at what he does.
Well, and you have to give the Minnesota Vikings credit on that, because I think what they understand is that Bijan is an excellent blitz picker, a blitz pickup guy.
Right.
So if you bring the house, you take Bijan out of your check down, because Bijan is your check down guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but again, that's also where a veteran offensive coordinator would understand, hey, they're taking away my running back, who is normally my quarterback's check down, Kyle Pitts, 5-yard hook.
Exactly.
Slanting in. Give him something there. And that's something that Zach Robinson has got to figure out.
And not only that him getting the ball, but that also creates him finding these players getting a groove. When Drake London makes that first catch, he's starting that groove for that day. Like, that's just how these players, you have to build them up. Like, that's how you do it. These check downs to Kyle Pitts, to let Kyle Pitts turn a 5-yard catch into a 12-yard play, and now Kyle Pitts is hyped up. Kyle Pitts is ready to play football. I mean, this is what it takes, but I don't agree with Kyle Pitts giving up on plays. That's not what I'm saying.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there was just so much that you could take away from that game. To Robert's point, the stupid penalties, man, 178 yards of penalties or whatever, 127, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's unexcusable, especially and this is the thing that drives me nuts is your offensive line is playing so well that you gashed the number one run defense in the NFL. You made them look bad on a lot of plays. And you got away from what you were doing. There's no reason if Kirk is hurt, and I understand this is where, defenses can load the box and, try to take away the run because Kirk can't pass. But you know what? I've seen the Falcons have success. They had success all game long, and the Vikings knew that they had to bring pressure. And Bijan was still killing him, and Tyler was still killing him. But then again, you get these stupid screenplays that he runs. Just kill drives and kills momentum too. You've got to get away from that crap. I understand what you're trying to do. I really do. I understand where he's coming from with this screen stuff. But when it's not working, it's not working. You need to get away from it. When people see, Darnell lined up out there, they understand what's coming. Screens aren't an easy place to run. You have to disguise them really well. Otherwise, teams sniff them out. And every week, it seems like there's a lack of creativity to disguise and to hide plays. And, whether it be only Tyler in the backfield, whether you got Mooney lined up where he's lined up where, we know he's running a screen. You just can't do it, man. You have to figure this out. But the only good news that you can really take from this is the tie break still matters against Tampa Bay. You've got 3 of 4 teams that you've got left on your schedule. You've got Las Vegas at home, or Las Vegas on the road on Monday night. That is a very winnable game. Then you come back home against the New York Football Giants. That is a very winnable football game. Then I believe then you have the Commanders in Washington.
That's a winnable game as well.
That is a winnable game. And then you come home and Carolina plays here. The only thing is you have zero room for error. You cannot lose.
You also have to hope. You also have to hope that the Bucs don't win out.
Exactly.
Because if the Bucs win out, it doesn't matter what you do.
Right. But the good news is
fucking sickening.
It is. But the good news is they still got the Chargers, which means they'll have that. I'm saying they're the Cowboys, who are looking a lot better.
Hopefully the Panthers can give them a run for their money on the next matchup,
right?
Because they were close to getting it.
I think that one's in Charlotte too, so that kind of helps out too. So,
well, no, the last one was in Charlotte, so they'll be in New Orleans.
Right. I would say so.
But they also have to play the Saints again, so you never know.
So, they got 2 division games, and we all know it doesn't matter if you're 17-0 or 0-17. Those games are always close. They're always hard to win. And so there's hope, but things have to change Monday night. And God forbid Desmond Ridder comes out and looks like Peyton Manning. We can't let that happen.
If
you
he
have to make him look bad.
If I'm telling you boys right now, if you lose to Desmond Ridder, like if Desmond Ridder torches his defense and you lose this game, somebody's got to answer. Somebody's got to take the fall for that.
Yep.
There's no way you lose. I mean, I get it. The Raiders have a nice pass rush. They have a nice player over there that I wish we would have traded for. But I mean, if Desmond Ridder torches this defense, Falcon fans, we may not have a podcast for the rest of the year. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. Falcon fans, if you want to talk Falcon football, man, I just dropped the link over on YouTube right here. It's StreamYard.com. Hit the link. I'll add you to the live podcast. We'll get your thoughts real quick, 10 minutes or so, of what you feel these Falcons must do the remainder of the season. Cody, Robert, I mean, there was some good, I guess you could say. I mean, the Falcons still found ways to get to the quarterback. That's 4 sacks. That's what, 9 sacks now in 2 weeks for the Atlanta Falcons. So I don't know exactly where we rank at in that position, but this is kind of off a topic because we're not really on the quarterback situation anymore, but we did some polls over on Facebook. We also did polls on, if I can find them, give me a second. Here we are. Okay, so we did polls on Facebook and Twitter of what Falcon fans wanted, if they were to choose who started the quarterback. On Twitter, it's only a 7-person vote over on Twitter, not many. 36 views, 7 voters. 86% say it's Kirk Cousins. 14% say, Penix, and then 14% says Cousins. Also did one over on Facebook. The Facebook numbers were a little bigger. So in favor was for Michael Penix Jr. The total numbers on it were, 74%, which was 23 votes for Penix Jr., and 25% of 8 votes for Cousins. So a lot of Falcon fans are on their edges of seats, Cody, Robert. It's this type of, it's like panic because you've done so good. Now it's like, are the Falcons gonna even finish the rest of the season above 500? There was a comment here I wanted to answer, and this is reaching way down the line. And this is the only reason why I'm answering this because I actually had screenshotted this earlier this week. A good replacement for me at that position is my guy, Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. He runs a play-action heavy offense. So whether you keep Kirk or you keep Michael Penix, I think both could thrive in that offense. Obviously, he will probably come in and run offense and be your head coach. So, Ben Johnson would be a nice one. But we'll talk about that if Raheem's ever fired. That's just a fun topic to chat about. Ben Johnson would be my elected candidate for that. But Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, man. It's episode 116. Title for tonight's show, Spiraling Atlanta Falcons. Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Cody, Robert, who gets the game ball, man? Do we give a game ball away for, at least one player played up to par? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I got a game ball. I think you got to give it to your defensive line. I think everybody on the defensive line gets a game ball. Well, you know what? I take that back. So I'll give them half a ball for the defensive line effort. But Caden Ellis gets my game ball. Caden Ellis has played his ass off all year long. Yeah. Caden Ellis has stepped up. When we've been short at linebacker, he's ran the defense, and I in our group chat, I told, that was the first thing I said when Caden Ellis was doing his things. I was like, 55 is a problem for people. Caden Ellis is a fucking problem for people, and I hope he stays around as a Falcon for a while.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Caden Ellis gets the game ball for me as well. Robert, did you have anybody different? I'll switch that up, Robert, before you call him, but I think you about to call his name. I'm going to say A.J. Terrell because the numbers don't lie, Falcon fans. A.J. Terrell locked down Justin Jefferson when they had their matchup. I think it was a total of 7 thrown that way, and he caught absolutely 0 against my guy, A.J. Terrell. Phillip called it. Phillip said back in his rookie season that it was a good matchup, and Phillip said it would be another great matchup for AJ Terrell. Philip called that one Sunday pregame show. Shout out to Philip. He wasn't able to make it tonight, but Philip called that one. So I'll give AJ Terrell a game ball as well. Robert, anybody different?
I was pleased with the effort out of Eddie Goldman. He actually got to Darnold. It's good to see him, stepping up, making plays, especially after the past few training camps. We bring him in, and I don't know what was going on, if he had personal issues or what have you, but it's good to see him on the field. It's good to see him, actually making a difference. I'll give him the defensive game ball, and I got to give one to the offense. Bijan's still looking sharp. He's still proving his worth, and I just wish that Robinson would get this figured out. You got a two-headed monster here. And we've had that through the years in Atlanta. When I first started watching the Falcons, it was William Andrews and Lynn Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald Riggs came along, and then of course, the Super Bowl year we had Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. You've got these weapons. Learn to use them. That's what you're getting paid to do. And we're just fans here. We're not coaches, but it's like Cody said earlier. Here we are, fans, and we're figuring things out that the coaches are getting paid to do.
Well, and it's like we're calling these things out on the podcast, and then you're seeing it the next week. Like Mateo, for instance, on the podcast said that you needed to run Tyler Algier as a fullback. Well, guess what? Zach Robinson lined Tyler Algier up at linebacker, fullback, and that's what he did. He got first downs on both plays. So, and then the fact of Caden Ellis, finally being able to rush off the edge. We've called it all season. We said Caden Ellis needed to be on the edge, rushing the quarterback. So, it's encouraging that you're seeing your team correct these things, but it's like, why is it taking so long to correct these things? I don't know if that's now because Raheem Morris has officially put his hands in the defense a little more. Maybe that's why you're starting to see these things be corrected. So, maybe things will start at least you can say if defense wasn't on the field as long as they were the first half, maybe defense plays a good game that day. Mm-hmm. Because, and that would be two solid games back to back from your defense. So, I think personally that this offense has just got to figure it out. This offense has got to get off the slump. And it's bad when I can feel the slump when it's the first quarter with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. I'm like, the Falcons are absolutely about to lose this game. Because you can see it. You can feel it. Like, it's just a fucking vibe you get from how these players are playing. It's like, we've been down this road. We've been down this road a million times. Like, we don't play well from behind. We're not that 6-3 team that we were at the beginning of the season right now. So when you get down when you have that advantage and you're up 7-0 and you don't take that field goal to make it a 10-0 game, like we haven't won a game in 3 weeks, now 4 weeks, and we're going forward on 4th and 5 in the 40. It would have been a 46-yarder, 48-yard field goal for Koo to make, which is very makeable for a veteran kicker in the NFL if he's healthy.
Right.
So, and if Koo's not healthy, it's not Koo's fault. It's not Koo's fault. Why do we have him on the field? Why are we not signing a kicker until Koo is healthy? Which you did, and then you cut right before the game. So, I don't know. But somebody has to answer to these things that are going bad because it's not all on the players. It's a lot of scheme issues, and it's a lot of out-coaching here in Atlanta. They've got to get it corrected. Abnell says Algier scores a touchdown, then we decide to have Bijan play a goal line to run it when it's field goal. When it failed. Absolutely. This team is so predictable. The screens, if it's 2nd and 15, NFL, if you're not a Falcon fan, if you're watching this, make sure you tell your team that if it's 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 10 and longer, the Falcons are throwing a screen on 2nd down. I'll bet money on it. Mm-hmm. I'll bet money on it. And they may do that back to back. They may do that on the same drive back to back, just letting you know. This is not college, Zach Robinson.
Nope.
You were a NFL PFF grader for quarterbacks last year. Now you don't know how to call the offense in Atlanta. I don't know, Falcon fans. There was so many people that were available to be an offense coordinator as well at the time that we were hiring. So if Zach Robinson was the guy that you felt comfortable with, that was the guy that you wanted in the building, why is it week 16 and we have lost the NFC South? Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe. We're getting to wrap up our 45-minute episode here for tonight's Atlanta Falcon versus Minnesota recap. We would go through the stats, Falcon fans, but after a beating that we took in Minnesota, I don't even care to look at that game. I would rather leave this in the past. Let's break this losing streak. Let's come back with a 2-game winning streak before we take on the Commanders, coming hot in Washington, and get flying high. Let's take the NFC South back, Falcon fans. It's very doable. Cody's done laid it out how it could be done. But the Buccaneers must not win out, because if so, it doesn't matter what you do, because you no longer hold your destiny.
Yep.
And that absolutely sucks, Falcon fans. The biggest 2024 choke job was the Atlanta Falcons losing a 3.5-point tiebreaker for the NFC South. 28-3 will never die, Falcon fans. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Robert, shout outs for tonight's show, brother. Glad to have both you and Cody here for tonight's recap of week 15.
Well, shout out to God above for blessing us with another day. Just everything's falling into place right now. Things are getting better, seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Shout out to you guys for letting me be a part of this. You know, it's an honor and a privilege, you know, to talk Falcon football with you guys. Shout out to our viewers and our subscribers. Without you guys, this isn't possible. And as always, special shout out to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy. I love you all. Rise up.
Rise up. Holy Falcon Keeler. Before we get out of here and get your shout outs, my guy Ryan Thomas is in the chat, says, what up, everyone? Ryan, what's going on, brother? Glad to have you here. Hit that like button and share a Falcon fan or tag a Falcon friend in the comment section. Shout out to Ryan Thomas. Cody, shout outs for tonight's show, brother. Glad to have you here on episode 116. Wish it was a better title, but at this point,
it is what it is at this point.
It is what it is.
Well, you know, shout out to you guys, you know, for coming on 4 weeks in a row and finding a way to talk about this, because it's not easy, man. I mean, you know, we're obviously, you know, we don't work for the Falcons. We don't, you know, but we love this team, and it's God, man, it's so much more fun to come on here after a win. I miss Philip with the cowboy hat and the broom and the, you know, fuck Howard, fuck Fred, you know, God, I miss that. But you know, shout out to you guys for coming on here and, you know, talking these things through, because you know what, I think it's good for, you know, it's good to get it out.
The mental health.
The mental health, because the struggle is real right now. We're definitely riding the struggle bus a little bit, but you know what? Not a better group of guys to sit down and talk Falcon football with, to kind of, you know, get it all off your chest. But you know, shout out to the people that are still watching. I mean, you know, it's the other day, you know, the YouTube popped up and it was like, here, watch Coach Raheem Morris, you know, press conference after the Vikings game. I was like, fuck that. I'm good. It was like, so I know it's hard to get on here and listen, you know, to about your team losing. So, you know, shout out to everybody liking, subscribe, keep doing it. We'll keep pushing fucking content, trying to get to 1,000, man. Let's say we're getting there. Shout out to the wife for, you know, letting me get away and, you know, vent and talk more Falcon football. I'm sure she's sick of the mood I've been in for the last 4 weeks, but so shout out to her for, you know, putting up with me. God, I'm going to do this, but I don't know if y'all remember all the Falcon fans that were happy when Matt Ryan left and we're calling for Matt Ryan. Are y'all happy now? Because I'm not. Exactly. I'm not. I told people, be careful what you wish for, because we were spoiled for 16 seasons with Matt Ryan. And I'm not saying that Matt Ryan could succeed in this offense the way that it is, but I would have liked our chances a lot better. So
I want to say this to the haters that are watching. I want all of you to tell us one time that Matt went through a 4-game stretch with 0 touchdown passes with 8 interceptions. Name one.
I got the answer for you right there. Big old goose egg
Exactly.
there. It never happened.
Exactly.
But so shout out Matt Ryan. Thank you for those 16 years of God, I miss you. God, I miss Matt Ryan so bad. But other than that, guys, shout out to the team. Keep playing your asses off. Even though it's a small flame, which was once a giant burning inferno, which is now a small flame for hopes of playoffs. Keep fighting, guys. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Just handle your fucking business. Handle your fucking business. Go win out. Let Tampa Bay be the one that finds a way to lose a game and you're back in control. So other than that, rise up, guys.
Rise up.
Matty
says rise up.
Rise
up. Rise up, Matty. Falcon fans, hit that like button, man. Shout out to all the Falcon fans that tuned in tonight. As Cody said, it's hard to find content to drop that is any kind of positive about a team that is on a 4-game losing streak. But we are diehard Falcon fans, so we are going to keep it 100 with you and always bring you Falcon content, whether that's a 10-game losing streak or a 10-game winning streak. DFU is going to be here to talk Falcon football. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're a diehard Falcon fan. If you ain't diehard, find a way to be diehard and then hit the subscribe button. Hit that comment section and please leave a like, Falcon fans. As always, shout out to my co-host here. Could not do the podcast without you guys. Shout out to the little bro, Philip, a.k.a. Mr. Avis, that couldn't make it tonight. I got him outside right now picking up weeds. Hold up. He's knocking out the window. Philip, we're live right now. So yeah, Philip's outside picking the weeds around the house. It's dark, I know, so we got to get him inside. So shout out to Philip for all he does: gardening, podcasting, editing, music making. Philip does it all. He's a man of many trades. A lawn mower business as well. He can sweep very well. He sweeps the house very well. So get to Philip for your needs. Philip's mating services. Check out Philip. he's gonna be so blown when he checks us out. Shout out to all the Falcon fans that tune in tonight, man. We much love to all you guys. Much love to the co-host. Much love to the wife. Shout out to her as always. Shout out to the baby boys. And shout out to God, man. Big things have happened for me this year, and none of it's possible if it isn't through the hands of him. So as always, shout out to the big man upstairs for just always providing, never suffering, always living blessed. As always, man, it's your boys from DFU, baby. A down, rise up. We out of here. Next podcast will be a Falcon W, Falcon fans. We out.